Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at CoreWeave. It is time for another update, and on this chart we have been tracking pretty much the same pattern for quite some time now. We are still looking at this idea of a 1-2 setup, and I'm sure a lot of people are becoming quite bullish on this chart as we have managed to extend quite nicely to significantly higher prices, right? We actually see like a 2x in, what is it, like a month? Yeah, a month and a bit, which is quite decent, right? However, I still cannot dismiss the possibility of something rather more bearish going on. And we have been tracking in the previous video primarily this idea of continuation to lower prices, as we haven't broken resistance. Within this wave B, we have only pushed into the 61.8% retracement within a 3-wave pattern nonetheless. And we were tracking possibly direct continuation to lower prices, right? We had this white structure where we even identified a potential initial 5-wave move to the downside, which would have allowed us to prefer lower prices against $120. We have broken that, so we should be bullish, right? Well, maybe if it weren't for this to be really, in my opinion, just an extension of this wave B, I can quite simply track this within a larger ABC pattern still, where I could just adjust the count we were previously considering from a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Nothing substantial has really changed on this chart, at least not yet. We still haven't broken the levels of resistance. We still have only 3 waves up, and we have even started with a 3-wave move to the upside. So we need to consider that we quite clearly have only an ABC structure we can track in this area. And it could become something more bullish, right? We have this yellow interpretation that would allow this to be a larger wave A, part of a larger wave 3. It could work out in a scenario where we are now extending after this wave B correction that would have been expected anyway, but now we could be extending to new highs within this is the wave 3. And if this chart manages to follow this path, we can maybe start to trust it a bit more. But as it stands right now, we've had only a 3-wave move up. We've had an extremely deep retracement in what we would want to be, I'm sure, just a wave 2. And then we have 5 waves up. If we manage to build this wave B against $78.5, right? We do not want to see a sustained break below this level, and then deliver a wave C, part of a larger wave 3. We will continue to track this bullish path. I'm not opposed to it, but the structure isn't providing us high confidence that this will be the path that it is taking. There is no strong edge for us that it will succeed in forming these higher prices. So for now, I have to be extremely cautious of this being the orange scenario playing out within this idea of an ABC pattern instead, right? And you may even want to consider that the wave 3 had already topped. We might be able to get away with tracking this as an ABC structure. I personally wouldn't trust it. We have, after all, only reached the 123.6% extension, not the ideal target for a wave 3. So all things considered, I am looking still for continuation to lower prices. More likely within the orange scenario, I would say, although in reality, those two scenarios are quite even in probabilities. It's not that one is significantly more likely than the other, but I simply cannot trust the yellow scenario enough for a trade setup at the moment. And as always, this doesn't mean that we cannot track levels of support that would allow such a reversal and an extension to higher prices, but I also do not have the strong conviction that it will succeed as we would typically have if we were to build an initial 5-wave move to the upside instead, from the low, right? Now, in this path down, we will be taking it rather slow. We want to see how this internal structure develops before we make stronger assumptions, but primarily I would be watching out for a potential 5-wave move to the downside, where I would expect at this point to still be within a wave 3. In this wave 3, I would be watching out for a potential 3-wave pattern, but I do caution you that it is possible that we are instead building an impulse to the downside. I just do not find it particularly likely at this point. And to be clear, other types of corrections are possible. It is perfectly possible that this would be something like an A, B, C structure where a more substantial bottom could form sooner than we would typically expect within this count. But I want you to be prepared for the possibility of even further extensions to lower prices. So I will be tracking at this point a wave C to the downside within this wave 3, where of course I am looking as always for a 5-wave pattern, since it is a wave C we are looking at. And within this idea, we could expect even the internal wave 3 to still be ongoing, as I am primarily tracking the idea of an impulse. If we are to already start a significantly larger wave 4 correction, I am open to considering the wave 3 to have already bottomed. So primarily, in terms of resistance, I would have to watch out all the way up to the 50% retracement for a potential wave 4, in red here. But if we get direct extensions to lower prices without reaching this area of resistance, in red, I would have to be prepared for this to be still an extension of the wave 3, and I would have to extend this area of resistance for a potential wave 4. As this structure further develops, we would be looking at the next levels of resistance, potentially for a larger wave 4 within this area of a leading diagonal. And if this structure ultimately follows through within this red interpretation, where we build an initial 5-wave move to the downside, we have to be rather prepared that this structure will extend within at least one more low after it forms an internal correction. And for now, we will stop here. These are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.